I'm with the wonderful Professor Vladlena Benson. She has a PhD in computer science from the University of Texas, and she's currently the Director of Cybersecurity and Criminology Research at UWL. She's about to tell us about a really interesting project she's been working on, but before we do that, could you tell me a little bit about why you're so passionate about security?
Well, since my PhD studies many years ago, I have always been focused on resolving problems, finding solutions, and over the last decade, the biggest problem that society is facing are the challenges of cybersecurity, and no organization or individual is immune or are immune to this particular issue, so it was just natural to move in that direction.
Brilliant. And some of your previous research has focused on the impact gender has on security. That's obviously a big topic at the moment. What are your thoughts on where the industry is at right now?
Well, gender was not something that surfaced very quickly during our research. Actually, the issues of gender in the digital society have been highlighted as both either sort of merging towards single view, all our cybersecurity solutions are gender agnostic, one size should fit all. But as I was doing my research in modeling privacy, perceptions of privacy are different by gender, by age, various sectors and groups differ in how they view both victimization and cybersecurity, let's say, as a whole. So gender kind of surfaced as one of the driving forces behind let's say, making our society safer. So we addressed the diversity and, let's say, gender awareness of cyber solutions.
I think that's so fascinating, and it's a real key issue around actually having more diverse teams to make us more secure.
Absolutely, and it's not only gender that becomes an issue. We talk about vulnerable individuals, we talk about children who are going into, let's say, in a few years going into the workforce, and the issues that we're facing are connected with gender detection, how many children are allowed to have access and use let's say IT systems that are not supposed to be using, and so on. So we have this escalation of what used to be not a problem. Now it becomes a cybersecurity problem.
Now you mentioned children there, which leads us nicely into your current project. So you've said that entrepreneurship is not being taught in schools, and this project starts to address part of that. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, we will be giving a disservice to school education if we say as a whole it's not teaching entrepreneurship. At some point during the school years, students or children are exposed to some of the entrepreneurship concepts. They might be seeing the opportunities in the university, but overall we looked at what age someone would, an individual decides whether he will be an entrepreneur or not. And we thought actually we need to find when this age actually happens. And as we went back to our research, and particularly in the case of the project that you have seen my presentation on, we found out that there's a lot of misconceptions around what a cyber entrepreneur is. There's a very little understanding of what skills are needed and who is better suited for a career in entrepreneurship, or is there a career called entrepreneur? Because quite a lot of children at their sort of GCSEs level and earlier are not saying, starting a business as a viable career option. They want to do something safe that is, there's less risk, particularly financial. So quite a lot of opportunities in the evolving digital economy are missed because of the lack of exposure to entrepreneurship education.
So how do you feel the project you're working on currently, how do you think it's going to solve some of that?
Well, we are developing a game that would teach children, or would exercise some of the entrepreneurial attitudes, and sort of bring some thoughts about what are the key themes that are important to be aware of before you can decide whether entrepreneurship is something that is right for you or not. But it's all sort of, it's making the entrepreneurship fascinating and enjoying, and something that is done for enjoyment of children. And the game that we are creating as a partnership will be available for European community.
Brilliant. And if anybody watching wants to find out a little bit more or get involved and help you in any way, where can they do that?
Please find me on LinkedIn, Vladlena Benson. Drop me an email, and we hope to bring you into the network of KidVenture.
Brilliant. And now my last question, because you have access to so much research and interesting information, as we come up to the end of 2018, what do you think is going to happen in the industry?
Well, cybersecurity has never been a very predictable industry. Every year surprises us with new wave of more and more sophisticated attacks, to which to some extent we're getting used to, and the numbers of breached records never surprises anymore. Oh, it's another 80 million records breached, or oh dear, another 400 million breached, and so on. It just it becomes a background noise. But I think that 2018 will see a lot more targeted spending of the budget because of the emerging technologies that have evolved over the last let's say 5-6 years. IoT, for instance, the emergence of artificial intelligence on both sides of the cybersecurity fence, because adversaries are using this just as advanced technologies as those who work on the cyber securing organizations. So we will see a bit of more of an escalation of the arms race on both sides. We will see more sophisticated attacks, but I think that they will be mostly targeting or focused on exploiting new technologies.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for talking with me this evening, and it was great to have you at Cybertalks.
Thank you.